And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment. But before that, I would like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get into our second segment of the day today. Now, our second segment is going to be talking about Jorge Soler and the San Francisco Giants. So, let's start off here. Jorge Soler was placed on the 10-day IL today with a right shoulder strain, which it was retroactive from May 5th. Heliot Ramos is going to come up from AAA to replace the spot Soler was in the lineup. Now, what is the impact on this for the Giants? Now, I think it's relatively high. I understand Soler hasn't played that well this year. We'll be going into that in this segment. Believe me, don't worry. But at the same time, I think Soler still is one of the premier power bats in this league. I think he is a guy that strikes fear in a lot of pitchers. He's a very intimidating presence when he's in the batter's box as well, which I personally do think matters. I think that is something that is notable with players. So I think that overall the impact here is pretty huge. Again, he hasn't been playing the best, but he's someone that I think just needs to get at-bats and reps to heat up, become the player that we all know about, that we all know. So I think it's an unfortunate situation here for the Giants, getting him injured. Not getting him injured, I should say. The Giants did not injure Jorge Soler, but having him injured now, placing him on the injured list, I think that it's something we have to watch, and it's just an unfortunate streak right now for the Giants. Their offense has been so pitiful. I mean, I don't use that word much, but man, it really has been. Looking at some of the stats right now, I mean, of course you have Soler, who's been underperforming, but other than that, you have guys like Thairo Estrada, who has a weighted runs created plus of 94, which is below average, I'd say, which is definitely below average. Nick Ahmed, another guy that has 68, and he's playing a lot of games for you. So that's another thing. Jung-Hoo Lee who has the most plate appearances on this team. He has a 90. Matt Chapman with a 74. Soler himself has a 94, so obviously not doing great, especially for a DH who provides no value in the field whatsoever. Mark Conforto has a 126, so he's actually been really good, so props to him. But the Giants right now are in a really tough spot. They're not doing well. There's not a lot going right for them. And a lot of their players, I'd say most of their players, are underperforming. You look at this lineup, you look at how many good players they have, it's really a shock where they are in the standings and where they are with offensive numbers. I mean, right now the Giants in the NL West, they are currently fourth place. They're 8.5 back. They're 17-21. Not a lot is going right for them. I mean, again, we talked about these guys underperforming, and these are big names. Jung-Hoo Lee was one of the top players in Korea. Matt Chapman, former multiple-time All-Star. Conforto, really good player. Thairo Estrada, really great player. Jorge Soler, one of the better DHs in baseball before this year. Nick Ahmed, I don't know why he's still starting for you guys. You don't have a better option shortstop, really. I mean, I would have called up Marco Luciano by now. I don't know why you haven't, but that's a different story for a different day. But right now, it's really unfortunate for the Giants. There's not much going right for them, and it's just an interesting situation with them right now, how much they have underperformed. So if I am a Giants fan, I am kind of worried at this point. I do think that this offense is probably staying, and I'm just not sure about how these guys are going to perform. I mean, Matt Chapman having a 74 weighted runs created plus and just being that below average for offense, unfortunately, it doesn't really surprise me. It kind of seemed like his hitting was regressing towards the end of his career with the Blue Jays, and that's why they didn't really make an effort at all to sign him. So that's a situation there. Other than that, Jung-Hoo Lee really has not hit the ball well. He is providing some value with the defense, being a really good defender. He has been throughout his career in Korea, so that's something good there. But only having a weighted runs created plus of 90 is really not something you want for him. So there's a lot being negative for the Giants right now. But the thing about those two guys is both play amazing defense. Matt Chapman plays amazing defense. So does Jung-Hoo Lee. But Jorge Soler does not. Jorge Soler is a strict DH, does not play the field. I think there's a lot of other things that would happen in baseball rather than Jorge Soler play the field. And right now, him not providing any offensive value is really something that is a huge loss for you guys right now. I mean, it's, again, one thing if Chapman and Jung-Hoo Lee don't, because at some point, okay, they'll probably get it together, and even if they don't, they're still giving us great defense. They're still being effective in ball games that way. They're still giving us some value, but Soler is not. And could it have something to do with his shoulder strain? That's possible, definitely. That's not really that's not a long-term injury, but it's not an injury to scoff at as well. It's definitely something that is notable, and it's something that I think is, something to monitor with the Giants in the future and Jorge Soler in the future. So that's something interesting there. But if I'm a Giants fan right now, I am a little worried. I don't know if there's much going right for this offense right now. All of these guys are underperforming. Conforto was not, so props to him, and he's doing really well. But at the same time, just everyone else just underperforming this much is really horrible. And what's even worse about it is your pitching. Your pitching has been so good, and you're going to waste it with an offense like this. Logan Webb has been outstanding. Jordan Hicks has been outstanding. Kyle Harrison has been outstanding. This Giants rotation is honestly one of the best in the league. And wasting it with an offense of just underperforming people is so unfortunate and just such a killer for this Giants team right now. Logan Webb right now is the 3.50 ERA. Jordan Hicks is the 2.3. Kyle Harrison is the 3.20. And the thing about all these guys is their peripheral stats, their underlying stats that would show maybe they're getting lucky or something, are really not showing that. They're just showing they're pitching really good and they're playing really well. So it's just unfortunate right now what's going on with the Giants. If I'm a Giants fan, I would be a little frustrated at this point. You're getting such great pitching, so many guys that are performing so well, and the hitting is just not doing it. I think that would be something that really would kind of grind my gears if I was a Giants fan right now. You look at the batting stats for every team; they're not doing well. Let's first of all go for home runs. The Giants, they're not very high up. They're 21 out of the entire league, so bottom 10 for isolated power as well. They're not doing well there. They are seventh lowest in the entire league. So again, not great power numbers, not great hitting numbers. For weighted runs created plus, for the Giants, they are they're a little better with 13, but only 98, which is literally basically the epitome of league average. As I'm talking, by the way, Mike Conforto just hit a home run for the Giants, so that's good. I guess he continues to rake. But I think if the Giants don't get it on track soon, they could honestly sell. And if the Giants were to sell, I think they would have one of the biggest trade deadline hauls maybe in the history of baseball. You look at all the talent that could potentially be available. First of all, let's talk about the guy I just talked about, Mike Conforto. If Conforto keeps having this great of a season, he has 1 year left in his contract, he could get a lot. A lot of teams could use a corner outfield power bat. I think he's a very valuable asset to the Giants. 1 year deal. A veteran guy who knows how to hit, who's played in big markets before, now San Francisco and New York, two of the biggest, I'd say. So just a very quality player doing this well. I think there could be a good amount getting back for him. Matt Chapman on a 1 year deal, he isn't hitting currently, but he has name pedigree. He's playing great defense. A lot of teams need third base. They could get some bang back for him. Blake Snell, if he starts to pitch better, they could get a lot back for him. I think there are some other guys as well on this team, but I would mainly go those guys. I don't think you're trading Jung-Hoo Lee or Jorge Soler into those long-term contracts. So, but overall, it's just going to be very interesting few months now to see what does happen with the Giants. What overall is going to go on with them for this season. How they are going to play. Is this offense going to get any better? Not really sure, but we'll have to see. So I think really it is the offense. How much every single player basically on their team underperforming is affecting them. It's really just been horrible so far. So, yeah, I'm definitely watching this team for the future, and I think if they don't get their crap together soon, better than what I was going to say, I think that they could look to be a trade deadline seller. They could look to be a team that does blow it up, kind of go into a new direction. I don't think that would be the worst thing. This Giants team has been super mediocre for a long time. Since Buster Posey retired after that magical 2021 season, you guys have been the epitome of average. I think if you kind of blew up this team, focused on your younger players, I think that there could be a lot going right for you. You don't have to build much from the pitching staff. Just get some new hitters and spend a lot of money. I mean, you spent a lot of money, obviously, this offseason. It hasn't really worked out so well with Jung-Hoo Lee, Matt Chapman, Jorge Soler, and Blake Snell all underperforming. So we'll have to see with this Giants team. But, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Someone I didn't even mention who I meant to was Patrick Bailey, the superstar young catcher who I've mentioned a few times in the show, who I absolutely love. I mean, I think he's one of the best catchers in baseball already. You want to look for a Buster Posey number 2. I think he could potentially be that. So that's another thing that's affecting you guys, how well he's been doing. Him and Conforto really have been kind of the only 2 real guys who have been hitting on your team. So losing him, and I think that was a big effect on the offense. I think that was something that really did hurt you in a lot of ways. So hopefully he comes back rather soon. Helps this Giants team out. And yeah, I mean, looking at them in the full picture of the NL West, it looks really tough for them right now. You've been underperforming a lot. Doesn't look to change anytime soon. You're in a division where there's 2 teams I would say that are definitely better than you, and then one that is probably up in the air. You have the Dodgers, who I think are definitely better. I still think the Diamondbacks are better. I'm going to ride the Diamondbacks train till it falls off the tracks. I'm a big fan of this Diamondbacks team, and yes, they've been underperforming, but there's been a lot of injuries, but I still like them a lot. Padres, I'd say, are better than you at this point right now. So it's a tough road here. There's so many teams fighting for just a few spots, that one playoff spot. I mean, teams that are going to definitely be in the race come later. Phillies, Braves, Mets, maybe even the Nationals, Brewers, Cubs, Pirates, Reds, Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks. So there's a lot of teams for only 6 spots. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out. And if the Giants want any chance of making it to the playoffs, making a deep run, there's going to have to be some changes. There's going to have to be some guys that play to their potential finally, stop underperforming. And, yeah, that's just my general thoughts on that and the Giants. And very interested to see where it goes from here, and very interested to look at this team and what's going to go on with them. So, yeah. That is it for my second segment here, talking about the San Francisco Giants and their season so far and the Jorge Soler injury. We'll be going to our third segment, which is going to be talking about the Max Scherzer having a setback in his rehab for the Texas Rangers, plus just a little bit of an outlook for that team. So, yeah, we'll be talking about that. But first we'll go to a break, and we'll see you after that. So thanks, and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports